everyone. So I originally wanted to make this video a lot sooner, but life caught up to me and I had a lot of stuff going on, but it's here now. So what I'm going to be doing today is, a lot of people have asked for information about Lucy, my precious baby boy. So I'm going to be going over that today, since everyone's so curious. And my little speed paint that I'm doing right here in the background, that's just, drawing of him, whatever, just hanging out, doing as he do, sticking the leggy out real far. Okay, so I'm gonna start going over his info. I have like a little list of notes right here with me and everything, so I don't start rambling and just going completely off topic. So, first of all, Lucy, his full name is actually Luciano. He's Italian, so his first name is Luciano, his last name is Senza. He goes by Lucy because it's cuter, I guess. He'll also sometimes go by Lulu. Nothing really special. It's a pretty standard name, in my opinion. The meaning behind it, his first name, Luciano, Lucy, pretty much means light. And his last name, Senza, means without. So if you finagle it a little bit, his name means like without light, and it's super edgy and cool, So age. A couple people have been curious about this one. I feel as if my OC's characters in general kind of exist in an hello cat, kind of exist in an ageless void, in a way. They're always gonna be a certain age, but, within different timelines and AUs and whatever, they age differently and age up. So Lucy, I guess at the start of his, story, I guess you could say, the start of his canon, I don't know, he's 18, so he's not like some super old ageless demon or anything. He's only 18 years old, still a wee bab. This one, a lot of people get it wrong. So, contrary to popular belief, Lucy is not gay. He's not homosexual. Lucy is actually pansexual. He does not care. He likes whoever he likes, and he dislikes whoever he likes. He happens to be mostly in relationships with guys, but he has, had encounters with women in the past, but, he's not gay, technically. So, other random things, likes, dislikes, he is pretty much like a basic white girl, let's be real. He likes things like just Starbucks and fruit drinks and cats and the pop music and stuff like that. So he's pretty basic. As for dislikes, he dislikes rules and regulations and being told, what he can and can't do. He's kind of rebellious, I guess, would be the best explanation for it. But he does it on the down low. He acts like he's, following all the rules and regulations and whatnot, but in the background, he's doing things his own way. He has one big fear. His big fear is abandonment. I'll go into it in just a minute, but yeah, he fears being abandoned by someone he loves or cares about or anything like that. That's the main thing, because otherwise he has no fears whatsoever. He just lives life and is having a good time doing it. So one of the biggest things that not a lot of people know, I guess, unless you've been following me on Tumblr for a long time or have stalked through my Tumblr, is Lucy is technically a fan character. I see fan characters and original characters kind of in the same light. Like, to me, they're pretty much the same thing. Like, yes, he might be a fan character technically for something, but his story and everything else about him is original. The only thing that, like, ties him to the universe that he's in is, like, you know, the laws of that universe. So, he is actually a character for My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia, whatever, however you pronounce it. So, the rest of his info is gonna be focused a lot, like, based on terms and stuff from that universe. So I'm gonna, if you aren't aware of how My Hero Academia works, how the world is, or whatever, I'll give a really brief explanation right now. So just basically think, like, superpowers, like, everyone kind of has superpowers in a way, and they're called quirks. Most people are born with them, some people aren't. The people that aren't born with them are considered quirkless. It's not as common, but yeah, there was, like, the story of the show is, like, there was, like, a baby in China that was born and was, like, glowing or whatever, and then after that, all these other babies started appearing with, like, superpowers, and then, like, slowly almost everyone in the world has superpowers called, you know, they're called quirks. And that's kind of what it is. And there's, like, this school that's, like, in Japan or whatever, and it's really good, like, school for that sort of stuff, because there's, like, heroes, villains, whatever. It's, just think, like, superheroes, honestly, like, anime superheroes is kind of how it works. So, Lucy's quirk is actually called Sinner. So, the way his quirk works is the more sins he commits, the more powerful he becomes, and eventually once he hits, like, a certain limit, it's hard to describe, he kind of, like, goes over a little edge, and that's when he can turn into his demonic form. The sins are based on the Catholic Church, so anything that the Catholic Church considers a sin, you know, not necessarily things that are actually bad. The Catholic Church has lots of weird rules and regulations, but depending on the severity of the sin he commits, he gets more or less power, depending on it. So something like cussing or lying or cheating doesn't give him as much power as something like murder does. So murder can kind of, like, pop him into that demon form, like, instantly. So that's how that works. He can't stay in that form forever. He eventually, you know, starts to kind of lose his sanity/humanity the longer he stays in it. So after a while, he has to either pop himself out of it, or literally has to be, like, knocked unconscious to get him out of it. So his early life, he was born in Italy, had two parents who were quirkless, who didn't have any powers or anything. And his power, his quirk, emerged when he was about 3 years old. When he was 3 years old, he was, like, throwing a tantrum and ended up, like, throwing something and, like, hitting his dad and injuring his dad, like, really badly. And, you know, because of his age, he was only 3, doing something like that, like, intentionally hurting someone at age 3 is considered, you know, it'd be a pretty bad sin, you know, technically. I don't know, he's 3, it might not matter. I don't know what Jesus says. So that popped him into his demon form, and his parents freaked out because suddenly their little precious baby is this demon thing. So yeah, and that's where the scar on his chest comes from. When his demon form, like, emerged from him, it had to come from somewhere, so it just kind of, like, ripped out of him, making that scar. It doesn't, like, rip him open anymore, but it had to that initial time. And the shape of it is an upside down cross just because it's edgy. So eventually his dad died from the injuries that he was given, so Lucy was just left with his mama. And his mom was terrified of him. So she went around and, you know, tried to, like, ask different, like, churches and stuff, like what she should do with him, because, you know, she basically thinks he's the Antichrist. And a lot of them were just like, yo, he needs to die. Like, he is a demon, he is Satan. And she was like, oh no, I don't want to do that. So eventually, yeah, like some other church that didn't tell her to kill him, she left him on the doorstep and abandoned him. Oh, I wonder where those abandonment issues come from. So Lucy grew up in a church, technically grew up in a monastery among like a bunch of priests, things like that. He studied, doing a lot of his studies actually in a seminary, which is where like priests train and all that. He was giving kind of schooling there. So yeah, that's where he grew up. Church, monastery, grew up a very religious life. He was a total just dorky little kid, very quiet, didn't do much. Eventually though, he learns about, okay, I'm gonna get really weeby here. This is the most part that, like, you know, takes heavily from the anime. He learns about this school that happens to be in Japan, and it's supposed to be like the best hero school around. So he's like, hot diggity dog, I want to go there. So he was always like kind of training himself in the background. He couldn't do much because like he grew up at a church. Like he couldn't really test his limits that much. You know what I mean? So he convinces all the priests and whatnot to gather up enough money to send him off to Japan to get himself a hero education. Joke's on them, he becomes a villain. He basically wanted to go to the school. Well, he wanted to be a villain because he just thought it would be fun. He's just like, looks like a good time. So he goes to the school basically. In his mind, his idea is, yo, if I go here, you know, lots of heroes and whatnot teach at this school, so I can just, like, learn all their secrets, and all my classmates, all my peers, I can just learn all their secrets and all the stuff about them, and then go be a villain and completely wreck them. So that's what he does. So his little priest outfit, is technically his, like, his villain outfit, I guess, like, you know how Batman has his bat gear, bat suit, whatever? That's Lucy's thing, is his little priest outfit, for the aesthetics. And they all have like hero names, so think like, you know, Superman, Batman, whatever. His villain name is Holier Than Thou. He did it because it is ironic. Or he'll sometimes go as holy for short, but Holier Than Thou. He doesn't use it that often. Most of the time, everyone just knows him as Lucy, but you know. So, Lucy is a very friendly, open, happy guy. He always has a smile on his face, but he's also very manipulative. He'll change his personality to better suit whoever he's talking to. So if he's talking to someone who's really bright and bubbly, he's going to be really bright and bubbly himself. If he's talking to someone who's a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved, he'll be a little bit more quiet and reserved. So he kind of plays off of other people to get on their good side and manipulate them, basically. So he can later use them as pawns. He's not a super good guy. He's a nice guy, but he's not a good guy. So a lot of people are probably curious as well about the the beautiful white-haired man that y'all see him with occasionally. That is my friend's character, and he is beautiful, and I love him, and his name is Sinner. Lucy wants to be a villain. He wants to get in with the villains, so he's like trying to figure out how to go about doing that. So he hears about this guy, and ends up tracking him down, surprisingly, and managed to. And, you know, they, like, fought as you do, you know, had a nice tussle. And Lucy realized, wow, this guy can destroy me. I love him. Because before that, he was pretty much aromantic, wasn't interested in relationships, didn't want to really deal with that. He just didn't feel like he loved anyone or had the capacity to love anyone. But then he meets good old Sinner, and he's like, boy howdy, do I need to get me some of that. So they eventually get together and just have a good old time being in love and causing mayhem and murder and all sorts of fun things. So yeah, I don't know what else to go over really. I mean, I guess if anyone has any other questions, they can ask in the comments. Just because I don't really know what else to go over about him. I'm probably forgetting like a million things right now, but yes. Yeah. So that's Lucy. He's my baby boy. I love him a lot. I know you guys have been greatly enjoying him too. Y'all are nasty in my ask box on Tumblr, and I have screenshotted everything because y'all are little heathens. So yeah, that's about it. So I'll leave you guys with that. See you later.